serious. Okay. Sorry guys. I have to unmute from two sides, one my laptop mic button and this one, so I thought this one unmuted already. Okay, so hopefully you're able to hear me now, and let's go ahead. So are you able to hear me? Yes, no, maybe. I hope you're able to hear me. Alright, thank you. So what's going on here? Portal.office.com. Okay, and I'll just go down to the admin, and then there is go down to Sharepoint. Alright, so we were talking about okay, and yeah guys, one more thing I need to check if we're not gonna see the space filled up already. Ooh. It's 3 GB left, so I'll just quickly get more space right away. And that's 25, 24. And gives us a breathing space, 13 GB, okay. Size-wise, what else am I here? So I'll just quickly get rid of alright, so that should give me some extra 4 GB. Let's carry on. So what we were doing, okay, now I'm going to go back here and yeah, so we were talking about some more features here. Is the video still going on to be uploaded for last week's class? Didn't say, is it not there? Yikes. Okay, I did upload the first one, but this is COMP3121. I'm just looking on the other side, and I'll quickly upload. Okay, guys. So what we were talking about was AWS load balancing, and it is also called ELB, or guys, it's a video going on. Sorry, load. Okay, guys. So okay. Guys, I think others are able to hear, but Keith is not able to hear, right? So so Keith, please check your audio. Others are able to hear me, right? I hope you are able to hear me. So alright guys, so Dylan, yeah, I forgot. I will try to upload it by by the end of this class or after this class. Alright guys, so we talked about migration, content services, then we have talked about advanced, then we went for more features as well, and then we talked about BCS. So we talked about term store, Oh, well, thank you. Term store, user profile, search, apps, BCS, secure store, and then there is records management, that is Infopath and hybrid picker. Other than that, there is a classic site collections page. This page was removed on when so well, this was the site collection, and as we know that the site collection is the top site. The first site that we create is also called site collection, and under that when you create subsites, so obviously they're known as subsites. But this is so the older way to create the site collection, or the main site or the top site, is removed. That's what they're saying. Now we have talked about BCS, and I explained the whole scenario that um, you can connect outside applications like SQL to your AWS, and SQL, you can't have SQL within Microsoft 365. This is all SaaS solution, right? So you can only have SQL in IaaS solution, infrastructure as a service, and that is what you know. Uh, if you want to connect some outside application to put data inside your SharePoint, then you use BCS for that. Now that's a pretty long lab, and it quite complicated as well. But I did do this lab in other college a little time ago. Not little, like 1.5 years ago or 2 years ago. Um, so that's if anyone wants the video of this, it's pretty complicated. But I can just share. You can just request that if for your project, or for your, maybe you're working in a job and you want to connect some outside application to, or especially SQL Server, to the SharePoint. So that was a pretty long lab. Um, so secure, we talked about BCS being that you can business continuity services and outside applications can be connected. When we say outside, obviously it's the outside of the organization, and it's totally different account, and or maybe your SQL Server is on premises available, and from there you're connecting. What I did in the lab to show the students was that I just simply went to Azure and created a SQL Server there, and then put that test database there, sample database there, and then from there we connected to the SharePoint. So well, very interesting lab there. So, but still, we talked about the purpose in the last video, which I need to still upload. And then there's a secure store here. Now, this is also, in fact, this feature was used in BCS as well, and it says here, create and set the credentials for target applications used for BCS connections. So, secure store, what does it do? Why do we use it? And the purpose here is, now well, the scenario is still the same. The BCS that you have here, M365, Microsoft 365, and that Microsoft 365 has SharePoint. So that SharePoint, you want to put some data in the SharePoint lists. Now, SharePoint lists here, M365 SharePoint lists, right? So it has, you can just put data locally as well as from the outside applications. And here you have Azure. Now this is a totally separate subscription, and that is totally separate subscription, right? So this is, obviously we all know that this is SaaS, and this is infrastructure, that is software as a service. This is IaaS. Wow, what a way to write A. So we created a SQL server here. If we create a SQL database here, that database would be you could just whatever database is inside DB1 or DB. So suppose DB1 is there. What's wrong with my writing? DB1. Hopefully it looks like D. Okay. Now when the data is being loaded here, a lot of data being loaded here, right? So in that case, you want to keep that data here, you want to create another database here. Suppose the scenario is that actually you want this data to be copied over the internet, and that is obviously have to have a secure connection there as well. So when you connect that database over the internet to M365 SharePoint, so it has to be encryption at in transit and encryption and rest. There are two types, right? So some people on WhatsApp are requesting you admit them. Oh, sorry. Thank you for letting me. Yikes! What happened here? Oops. That was 16, 17. Okay, 1 minute. All right. Thank you for letting me know that. Alright guys, so as we were talking about the BCS, now we're talking also about Secure Store. When do you use BCS? When do you use Secure Store there? And so what happens is that you have Microsoft 365 SharePoint list, and then you have a SQL database here in Azure. So in that case, if you want that data to over the internet to be copied automatically, so data is placed inside, data input is going on here, and it is just being automatically copied to its destination in SharePoint in Microsoft 365 over the internet. Obviously, you need to have encryption enabled for data in transit, encryption for so it's not data at rest, data in transit, right? So in transit. Now data at rest and data in transit. So for that, you obviously, if the connection needs to be made, then normally what happens is that the credentials have to be secured. So the top credentials here for so top credentials here in Microsoft 365 is the admin account. Okay, so that's so it's the admin account here, right? That's the top credential here, and same would be here the admin account here. So or any account that has the privileges. Now if you want the data to be automatically get copied over the internet from SQL Server to the SharePoint, so you have to put that credentials, top credentials somewhere, and using those top credentials, the replication would keep on happening. So that's what's going on, and for that to happen, there is a service called Secure Store, this one, and what this service does, it actually is being offered by Microsoft 365. So what it does is that it asks that source credentials. It asks the source credentials, creds, and then it also asks the destination creds or credentials, right? So destination credentials, creds. So what happens here is that Secure Store saves the source credentials and destination credentials, and that overall then because of the secure store having the credentials of Azure and it has the credentials of M365, so first that is consulted by the source, and then the destination. Actually, this is the destination is actually this one, and so this is the destination, right? And this is the source. So both credentials are saved in secure store. When SQL Server tries to send the data, first, so it does access Microsoft 365, accesses its service called Secure Store, and then checks the credentials that I'm about to send the data. So my credentials are placed here. Secure Store confirms that yes, your credentials are here, and then it asks that okay, the credentials of the destination Sharepoint are also there. Yes, Secure Store confirms from the Microsoft 365 side that the destination credentials are also there, and then it simply transfers the data. And if the credentials change here, obviously the replication will stop as well. So secure store's main job is to keep the credentials encrypted and be made available for the destination and the source applications to communicate with each other, to replicate data to the other site. If the secure store does not save the credentials and make it available whenever is required by the source and destination applications to connect with each other and to replicate, then they won't be able to do that. So secure store simply saves the whole credentials for the destination and source to check the credentials of each other, and then source being sending or replicating the data to destination. So it simply safeguards the credentials, one thing. Second thing, it makes it available when the credentials are needed for the replication to begin, if it stops. So these are the two things that secure store does: save the credentials and make it available whenever the source wants to see the credentials to be able to send replication. So that's secure store, and it obviously works with BCS, or business continuity services. Okay, so that's the purpose of the secure store. I'll just get it to be so SharePoint features, and then we were talking about secure store. It saves the credentials of the source and destination applications for BCS, business continuity services, and it also makes the credentials available for the services too. It makes the credentials available for the services. It also makes the credentials available for the services to access them, to be able to connect and replicate data. Connect to each other, to connect to each other and replicate data. Okay. Okay, so if we go back here to the, so we talked about secure store and its purpose, And if we can go down here to records management. Also here for secure store, I'm just gonna click the learn more here, create or edit a secure store target application, how the secure store really works. So I'm just gonna copy this much here for the definition, but I did explain that already. So but some how secure store works, I'll just put that here. And yeah, so records management, manage records in a records center site that serves as an archive. So you want to just simply save your records, which are Microsoft Word documents or Excel or Access in any kind of file. So that is used as an archive. You just upload there and keep it there. So it's a collection of sites or URLs that where you can gather the records. If I click the learn more here for the records management, so implement records management, you can manage records in place, which means that you can leave a document in its current location on a site or store records in a specific archive, such as records center site. Before you implement records management, it is recommended that you first create a records management plan for your organization to help you choose the right records management system for your organization. And in SharePoint Online, we've introduced using retention labels to declare content as records, which effectively replaces the need to use the record center at all. If you're using the record center, you can continue to use it alongside retention labels, but moving forward for the purpose of records management, we recommend using retention labels instead of record center. So it just says that there's another service called retention labels that can declare any any data or file containing data as records. So create and configure a record center site. So basically it's going for record center site, which is supposed to be an app, a template within a site. Now you've seen how to use templates there. We went to the site collection, and then we went to the subsite, and then we chose a template to create a subsite, and that template was created there. So it's pretty much the same here as well that it shows. So I'm just gonna implement records. So basically it is just so what's the purpose of this? To create a subsite that has a template that actually is called record center template, where you can save records for archival purposes, right? So let's check it out as well, what the record center record management contains for us. So I'll just okay, so the project file has been loaded for the cloud one, and this for the project file for this one will be uploaded by this weekend. So okay, I'll go back here. Yeah, so once we go inside records management, so I'm just going to click that open. So let's click that under the records management, open, right? So once we click the open, it opens in another tab, and basically it is going to be a collection of URLs that contains record center. So this records management is just a collection of URLs. I'm going to show you what do I mean by that, but in order to go ahead with this, what we need to do is we need to create a subsite called records management. So for that, we need to go back to the active sites where we already have a site collection created there, and we're going to go into one site, and then we're going to go to content settings, and then we're going to create a sub site there. So I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the SharePoint Admin Center. In fact, yeah, we're inside the SharePoint Admin Center, right? So the other tab has the records management already open, right? So, but I'm going to go back to SharePoint Admin Center. Where do I want to go? I want to go for sites, and then I will go to one of our sites that we created, site collection. I'm going to open it, I'm going to go inside, and then I'm going to create a sub-site, and I'm going to use a template records management or records center for that sub-site. So first we need to go to the site collection, the main site or the top site. So let's click the active sites. Once we click the active sites here, then we go down to whichever site we created. So your first name, company site, your first name, company site. I'm going to click that, your first name, company site, right? And here we have site slash your first name, company site, right? So let's click that, your first name, company site, to open it. And well, so it just takes us to the review items here. I'm going to click that home button after opening the site that I created here. And well, I think it's what why is it not showing the main template? Or maybe I changed that template here and it's showing me the list. Like if I click the new items here, so well, that was not supposed to be the add items and list. So what we can do is I'm just gonna since you've opened the site that looks like actually a site, so I'm gonna also go to a site that we went before. So this is not really opening what I wanted to open, so I'm gonna go down to communication site here. If you see that, okay, my home page is broken like that as well after one of the labs we did, I believe. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's also so guys, if the page looks like that, just come back again and we can go to the default site that SharePoint creates for us when we created the Microsoft 365. So let's go back to communication site if that site doesn't look normal site like we had before. So I'm going to go back to this SharePoint Admin Center, the active sites, and then communication site. I'm going to click that communication site here, right, and go to this URL. And once we click that URL, so now yes, this really looks like a site, so we're good. And we're in a communication site, hopefully everyone is, and then we're gonna go for site contents. Although subsites is showing there and whatever subsite we created is showing there, but I'm gonna click that site contents, right? So once you click the site contents, then there's a subsites here, so I'm gonna click that subsites as well, because oh sorry, no, well, okay, so I said I'm gonna click that subsite, so I clicked it. There's only one subsite, but that's not where we need to go to create one. We need to go up to the new to create a new subsite. So let's click the new button here and create a new subsite, right? So let's click the new button here and create a new subsite. Okay, so a new SharePoint site, and then what we need to do here is your first name dash records center, your first name dash records center, but it all depends on that if we have the template here. Just check that. Oh yeah, we do. So I'm going to select this and copy, right? Your first name, record center, and paste, and paste, right? So we are just further putting the same name for as a full URL for the subsite after the main site here. Once you have put in that information like this, then we can also click the enterprise here, enterprise tab, and then you see the record center template. So if you have selected the record center template and you have copied all this, then this would be our screenshot number 1. So creating a record center subsite. So screenshot 1 would be creating a record center subsite, creating a record center subsite. So screenshot 1, I'm just going to take a sample screenshot here, and creating a record center subsite is the name. And I'll go back here to screenshot 1, creating a records center subsite, and I'll put there screenshot. Screenshot 1, creating a records center subsite. Okay, so creating a record center subsite, actually not website, although it's a website. So it says creating a record center subsite. Now if you have put in that information, I'm gonna do Alt Tab. Okay, you've selected the record center, and then we go further down. There's use same permissions as parent site. If so, no change here. And then, do you want this subsite to be shown in the navigation? I'll just enable both here. So the left side when possible, top when possible. So it's going to then show left side and top. So the only changes there is the above one for which we took the screenshot. I'm going to go down here and click create. So I'm going to click create here. And there you go, something went wrong. Woohoo! Seriously? For feature hold. Okay, I think nobody else got it. Oh, same? Dependency feature records resources for feature hold is not activated at this scope. Okay. So yeah, everyone's same, right? Okay, so yeah, if this comes and even if we are able to find out that this feature is for feature hold, so dependency feature record resources for feature hold is not. Okay, yeah, I remember that I did try. It's a, first of all, it's an older feature. Second thing is that even if you reach the features area, You don't have to go there. I'm just showing you. You don't have to go there. So this is our record resources, right? If I go to SharePoint, and in fact, yeah, I'll just open this main site again. Just showing you. You don't have to really follow site contents. If I click that and go to site settings, after site contents, I'm going to site settings. Put your okay, so site settings, and here there are the features, site features. Oh yeah, manage site features. If I click that, so there's the error was record resources for feature hold. I control F and go for hold. So there's the feature hold here. And this feature is used to track external actions like litigations, investigations, or audits. So guys, first I will just activate that. The site scoped feature being activated has a dependency on hidden site collection scope feature definition. Hidden features cannot be auto-activated across scopes. There may be one or more visible site collection scope features that auto-activate that dependent hidden feature. Okay, that was interesting. So I'm gonna go back to site, and then I'll go site contents, and again go to site settings here, and go to manage site features here, and then control F on this page. There's a hold written there. I'll press enter on the keyboard, and yes, so it just says that this is not going to get activated if you don't activate a hidden feature as well. So the site or scoped feature being activated has a dependency on hidden site collection scoped feature definition. So we basically what it's saying in English is that you have to look for this ID, search for this ID for a feature. If this and when you reach there, then you enable that feature as well, and then come back here and then enable this one as well. So normally that goes longer ahead. I was gonna explain that just by words, but instead I thought, why don't I show you that where to go and where to possibly start fixing this. But it goes a long way, and in one class actually we went that long way, and at the end we were able to find that, and still it was not activating because then there was a sync issue in the background, and then it said that okay, try after some time, and then that some time never came. So we just went ahead with other features. But if you had to go back to dependency features and then their hidden dependency features to open, so there are some PowerShell commandlets there, and then you have to wait a little time as well. Give it time. If it doesn't work, then try the PowerShell commandlets again, and then give it a little more time. Then you might not see this error for Record Center. So I'm just gonna go push the back button here, or okay, it says technical details correlation. Yeah, so it will take you to the article and you can just read the whole thing. But I'm just gonna go back to the site, and so we were not able to first of all create a record center for which I was gonna show you. So I'm just gonna close this communication site. I'm gonna close this communication site, and so this was the records management center, that records management page which was showing here. What I can do is I can still just explain that what is the purpose of that and how do we use that. So this record center site that we were creating there, first of all, it's a feature that will be deprecated in future or not continued, but right now it is there, so obviously we need to understand what it is. So normally what happens is that you first suppose put here display name as records records center, and then you have to put a specific URL that ends with .asmx. When you create that record center subsite, so it does have this separate URL. This is a URL that it creates specifically for usage here, right? So it's not like any other site that you can put here. It's specifically when you create that subsite with the record center template, or maybe other subsites may also create this kind of URL, but it ends with .asmx, and that's what you can use here. Okay, once we use here, so what? Suppose I go for HTTPS colon, just pretending that we have a site collection slash subsite slash file.asmx. So suppose you have that. So if it was for coming from an original site, you would click here, test, and it will just check that. It will just simply open that site if the URL is correct, and then we get to simply add connection, and it just gets added here. That this is just a records management is just connection 1, connection 2, connection 3, connection 4 to what? These, whatever the URL gets added here, this is just a record that if you go to this URL, it also helps you archive folders. Then you can create another subsite and give its URL here, then third subsite and give its URL, and fourth and fifth and sixth. So what happens is that it's just a collection of URLs, and those are the URLs of those subsites that collect information. So we can just take a screenshot number 2, records management here, and the purpose we have understood that it's a collection of the URLs of those subsites that collect your documents for archive purpose. So I'm going to write that down there as well, but screenshot number 2 is records management. So screenshot 2, records management. Screenshot 2, records management.
We can see your screen.
Sorry, you want me to go back? Okay, so he said something and I did not really understood. But this is the screen, yeah. If he had said that, so I'm going to take a screenshot of this screen, and the name is records management. Records management. This is the screen and records management. Screenshot 2, records management. Okay. Screenshot 2, records management. And okay, I'll just go there. Oops. Yeah. So this is a screen where I did write something. You don't have to write. If you did, it's okay. If you didn't, it's okay. This one, but just to show what's the purpose there, that it just is a collection of those subsites which are used for archiving records or files. So if we go ahead, so I'm just gonna go out of this because well, there's no exit here, right? So if this itself is clickable, records management. If I click on top of this, it may just take us back to this. So yeah, it's a home page as well. So I'm going to just simply go back to the SharePoint admin center, where we come to this records center page. So I'm back to SharePoint admin center, and then I'm going down to the more features. So SharePoint admin center, more features, and there are these features that we have been discussing, and there's the records management, and then there is Infopath. So Infopath is basically used for creating or designing forms, and this is a feature that is going to be deprecated soon or not continued soon. And in fact, there's an alternate application that Microsoft has already introduced, and that is called Microsoft Forms. You may have used that before for maybe in your projects as well. But what's the purpose of Infopath? I'm just going to click Learn More here. Infopath Forms services in SharePoint lets you deploy your organization's forms. Basically, you just need to create forms, right? Employee forms, employee onboarding forms, or any student registration forms. So if you want to deploy those forms, so Infopath was used. There was a designer software that you needed to download and then connect that to Microsoft 365, and then when you design a form in the designer application, then you can just upload that form here in Microsoft 365 SharePoint site. So Infopath Forms services in SharePoint lets you deploy your organization's forms to your sites, enabling users fill out these forms in a web browser. You can configure Infopath Form services in any of several ways depending on the needs of your organization. So Infopath Form Services 2013 is the last release of Infopath Form Services. Microsoft Power Apps is the recommended solution for creating and delivering custom forms for SharePoint lists. Create new forms with Power Apps from the command bar or the customize button on SharePoint list forms. The support for Infopath Forms services will match the support life cycle for SharePoint 2016. So overall, what it's saying in English is that this has been discontinued since the 2013 SharePoint version, and they're still doing the backward compatibility or backward support for those who still are using that. Otherwise, this feature is no longer used. But what is the use of that? It's, again, you can create forms to really offer, those fill-in forms for your employees or for whatever event. So I'll just put some basic information there and put it okay, and I'll just place it here. Okay, so instead of using Infopath form, so in fact, let's just go click open the Infopath. Let's click the open. We're not going to do anything here, but I'm just showing inside. But we're going to go for another application called Forms. So I'm just going to click open first of all this Infopath. And yeah, it's just a simple interface there that if you had downloaded the Infopath designer, then you would connect that designer and these settings would be useful. But otherwise, these settings are totally useless if you're not using the Infopath designer. That's a pretty much long way to create a form. and that is already being offered by another service called Microsoft Forms, although they're saying Power Apps also does that. So what we can do is, first of all, we don't need to be here in the Infopath, so I'm just going to close this page. And second thing is that I'm going to go to the main login page here, and there's a list of applications that are showing on the main login page, right? So if I go to the search on the main login page, so you can just type here forms, right, like this, and the forms application comes up, right? So what you can do is, if you have been able to search this, so go ahead and click forms. So let's click the forms application here from the main page. Just in the search, you type forms, and hopefully everyone's there. So I'm going to click forms now, right? So instead of Infopath, you can use this to create forms. So I've clicked the forms, and it opens up here, and it shows the introduction, find your most recently, yeah, and all my forms are here, okay, and my form groups are here, okay, got it. Anyway, we're just gonna create one form to just check it out. Maybe some of you have already used this Microsoft Forms here, pretty useful. So I'm just gonna let's click that download button, and there is that new quiz that you can create, or better, just click the new form here, which is pretty much, you can just create quiz there as well. So I'm going to click on the new form here instead of the new quiz. Let's click on the new form here, and once you click the new form, so well, still you can create a quiz here as well. So that's how it looks like here. It's on auto saving already, so whatever changes you make there, it's going to auto save that, and you can put a title here. So you can just now go ahead and put your name, your first name, dash student, wow, student registration form, right? Suppose that's the form, or whatever form you want to create. Well, you do have to put your name there, and enter a description. So form for collecting student information, right? Whatever you want to put there, and once you put that, so there's a add new here. I'm going to click that add new button to check what are the features. So pretty much you can just ask any type of question here. Here are some suggested questions already, which is first name, last name, organization, job title, email address, or you could there's an add all here written. Now this obviously job title for the student registration form is not good, but suppose if you're going for some employee related information, so then you can just do that. Otherwise you can just add questions yourself. So there's a plus sign, and there's a underscore here, and it says here ranking Likert used to gauge attitudes and opinions about a topic, file upload, net promoter score, and then section. So all this is there, and there's a choice. So we can just go for text here. We can just click text instead of selecting all that. We can click the text. So let's go ahead and click the text here. Once we click the text, so now you can see here question. So you can go for first name, right, and enter your answer. So do you want this to be required, and do you allow it to be a long answer? So you can, suppose I go for required here, right? So this means that without filling that, you can't really click the save button at the end or submit button at the end of the form. If this is not filled, it's going to give you an error if you click the required. And then we can go for the add new here again, and then we select text, again, right? And then you get the idea that now you can just put last name here, and then you can keep on adding new and keep on. So add new, and I'm just going to go for text again, and this time it could be cell phone, right? And it is also on required. So there are three dots here: restrictions, add branching. You want to add further branch the questions here. And there's insert media. You want to put some picture or video here, so it's all available here. So it's pretty much a straightforward form filling service, and you can just keep on adding more and more here. Names, questions, suggestions are still there, so it keeps on going. So this is just a some example. Suppose you're done with it, right? Suppose you're done with a long form and you have really you want to put this question above or below, so there are arrows here, and then you want to copy this question and then just change some fewer things, or you want to delete that. So all these features, responses would come on this side, but and you can preview here as well. So let's click the preview here. Let's click the preview here. Can we add multiple choices answers? Yes. So if I go to add new here, and choice, oh I did, so there, if you click the choice here instead of text, then now you have multiple choice, and you keep on add other option, so it keeps on giving you choices here, and those are radio buttons here, right? And you can drag them up and down as well. So that was choice if you put that. Okay, so but this is a complete form with whatever the form features that you are expecting. I've been using Google Forms as well, very good, and I've been using this, so very good. These are also excellent. So if we click the preview here, let's click the preview, and then it looks like this, and in the computer it's gonna look like this, but in the mobile you can just click the mobile and it's gonna look like this, and you can scroll down to see the whole form here, and you can share it with anyone. So in the cell phone it's going to look like this, and the computer is going to look like this, right? So screenshot number 3 would be the mobile version. So Microsoft Forms mobile version is the name. So click on the mobile, and the form should look like this with your name obviously, and just screenshot 3, Microsoft Forms mobile version. Screenshot 3, Microsoft Forms mobile version. So I'm just going to take that sample screenshot here. And go for shot 3, Microsoft Forms mobile version, right? Shot 3, Microsoft Forms mobile version. Okay, so let's go back. Now, when we have created, suppose, the whole form, I'm just going to go click the back button here. And can you show the form again? This form or the preview? Lower, okay. So I added the cell phone, and then, well, that's just random questions that I didn't fill, and that's it, right? Okay, cool. Alright guys, so here we can preview, but then there's a theme here as well. we can go to the theme. I'm just going to click that theme now, and then you can just put whatever theme you want, and pretty cool themes here. And wow, hey, there's a space theme here. I click that, so, or this one's better. Anyway, whatever theme you want to select is there as well, and this one or this one. Okay, so when you want to share, so that's also very interesting. There's that share button, but what you have to, okay, how did you add first and last name? How did I add first and last name? That's way back. That was in the questions, and so I was in the forms here like this. If you click on top of that, then there's an add new here. You didn't add the first and last name till now. So click the add new, and there's a text here, right? Once you click the text, then you type here first name, and then just click add new, text again, and the last name. Okay, so yeah, I went pretty slow here. Come on. So yeah, I put the required too, but if you don't put the required, we're not really submitting any form. But yes, I did click the required as well. So if you don't click required, still for the screenshot it's not needed, but we talked about the function why it is there. Okay, so and well, once we so we talked about theme, and then there's a share button, but it's not just simple share. There is, when you go to share, only people in your organization you want to respond, or you want people, specific people in your organization, or anyone can respond. So that anyone would be outside of organization plus inside, right? Anyone. So the forms can be, and then normally it's a long URL, so you can make it a shortened URL, right? So it's short URL. That's a very good thing. And then you can create a link for that, or you can create a QR code for that, and you can embed it in your website, or you can just simply email that. Share the template, or get a link to duplicate, and then share to collaborate, so somebody else is working as well on this form. So that's what you can do. Now these are simple features there for sharing the form, and so that's pretty much, you know, it. So preview, theme, share, and then if you click on top of this, then you can keep on creating and editing the form. If you click on top of first name, it also just you want to put something else here, or you click on top of this to edit the whole thing. You can just keep on editing by clicking on top of it, right? As long as you are in that account which created the form, or if you have the permissions to do that. Share to collaborate would give you permissions as well if you were not the owner of this form, right? So that's it for the form, but this is a very interesting feature that you can use easily instead of going to the Infopath forms, right? And okay, so let's go back. So we're back to the Sharepoint admin, right? We're back to the Sharepoint admin, and instead of using Infopath to create forms, you will go for then Microsoft Forms basically, and use that feature, right? So no need to come here for creating forms. And then there is hybrid picker. Well, that's hybrid just means you have the SharePoint application in your branch on premises, and you have the same application up here in online, right? So that's what you would want to do. So hybrid picker is here. Use this wizard to automate some of the steps in setting up a hybrid environment. And there is that open written here. So let's just click that hybrid picker and click the open button. Let's click the open button. And hybrid picker, use the hybrid picker to select the features you want to set up to connect your SharePoint server environment with Microsoft 365. So obviously, if you have installed already SharePoint server in your on-premises infrastructure, your branch, important, make sure you run hybrid picker on a SharePoint 2016 or SharePoint 2013 server and not earlier than that. So that's the main scenario. If you have your local branch here, Tor branch here, Toronto, right? And you have a server and it has SharePoint. So normally you can just simply simply have that SharePoint installed either 2013 or 2016, and then here in M365 you're having SharePoint, online, right? And you would want to then install the hybrid picker here, and hybrid picker would the software so hybrid picker software you would install here in the SharePoint actual server or in another machine within that LAN, within that network. So what it does is when you install that hybrid picker, it simply tries to detect the whole SharePoint environment. Normally here on premises it is called SharePoint Farms, FARM, farm, right? So if you have multiple SharePoint server deployments there, then it is just called SharePoint farm, and it just detects within the farm how many SharePoint servers are there. And it then asks, if you remember that you use the Azure AD Connect to connect the local domain controller to Azure Active Directory. So this hybrid picker would simply ask the credentials of the local on-premises SharePoint, and it would simply ask the credentials of so it would be on-prem credentials and online credentials. Right? So on-prem credentials and online credentials, and it would just keep that information in that software which is deployed inside the branch, any of the servers, and then you could just transfer or migrate all the sites from SharePoint 2013 2016. So suppose you create those site collections there, pages there, subsites there, and also whatever other records management related services that you have configured here can all that configuration and data can be migrated to SharePoint Online. Normally, when you deploy a SharePoint on premises, you have to deploy a SQL server in which it creates databases. SharePoint creates its database here, and that database obviously contains all the configuration data and the actual files. Actually, the configurational data is there, but all the files are secured on the local disks or plus the database, and also on SAN disks if we have provided those SAN disks here. Storage area network, right? So this is how Hybrid Picker really works. So what you can do is you can take a screenshot of this page, my page, and call it Hybrid Picker. So screenshot 4 would be the screenshot of my page, this diagram here, right? Screenshot 4 would be this my screen you can take a screenshot of and call it Hybrid Picker. Screenshot 4, right? So diagram, this diagram, just take a screenshot. As soon as I press escape, then you won't be able to take it. So hopefully everyone took that screenshot 4 as my screen. I'll take a print screen of this, and I'm pressing escape. It will all vanish now. And first I'll have to paste it here. Screenshot 4 Hybrid Picker, and screenshot 4 here, Hybrid Picker. Okay, so here I'll just move away. Yeah. Well, we talked about the Hybrid Picker here, and it's a new page. It opened the new page, so I'm just going to close this page now. Let's close it. And so these are the features, more features that are showing for the SharePoint Admin Center here. So these are all the features, right? And we've talked about all these features here. And other than that is the OneDrive Admin Center. Obviously, when it comes to collaboration, so the SharePoint works closely with OneDrive, and OneDrive features are totally, especially the security features, are totally dependent on how the security features of SharePoint are. So that's really important as well to know that what are the OneDrive features that are totally attached and dependent on SharePoint collaboration. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go down here to, oh, there's a show all here, right? I'm going to click that show all as well. And show less. Okay, show all, show less. Nothing else. Okay, cool. So no need to click there. OneDrive Admin Center, I'm just going to click that. Let's go ahead and click this OneDrive Admin Center. So we're going to then know that how it is connected with SharePoint for collaboration. I'm going to click that OneDrive Admin Center. It opens up, and it just shows you some of the features here, a few features actually: sharing, sync, storage, device access, compliance, notifications, and data migration. So if we go to the sharing first, and it might show it will show you the familiar drop down security bar here that we saw in SharePoint as well. So first of all, it's the top here, the sharing. Use these settings to customize how sharing works in OneDrive and SharePoint. Learn more about external sharing. So that's the external sharing that it's talking about, and we did go through that for SharePoint. Now we're going through that for OneDrive, because in the background the documents are saved. SharePoint has its space, but many of the documents are can be saved through SharePoint to OneDrive as well. So if I click that, learn more about external sharing here. So it just talks about manage sharing in OneDrive. To manage the OneDrive sharing settings for your organization, use the sharing page of the new SharePoint Admin Center inside of sharing page in the OneDrive Admin Center. It lets you manage all the settings and latest features in one place. So yes, we did actually do this already in SharePoint, that how external sharing should be configured, right? Now, I'm going to click back here to OneDrive. So it just says that if you want to go for external sharing setting configurations, then you better do this from the SharePoint side instead of here. So we're just going to go down here and check it out. It's the exact same settings that we saw there before as well. So if you, the OneDrive settings totally depend on the SharePoint settings here. I can go up without taking this OneDrive up, but OneDrive will always, the security configuration of OneDrive will always stay below the security configuration of SharePoint. And if I just go down, way down, so it just like this. Although we saw that before in SharePoint as well. And I think in SharePoint we did that on this level, so that's why we're seeing it here as well, right? And if we go further down, that's the same thing. Since we have discussed that, so we don't need to really discuss that here in OneDrive. So let's go to the sync portion of that, because OneDrive Sync is just like Google Drive Sync or Dropbox synchronization. You get one folder here in your machine. So if I click the sync here, so use these settings to control syncing of files in OneDrive and SharePoint. Download the sync client, fix sync problems, show the sync button on the OneDrive website, allow syncing only on PCs joined to specific domains. That is also a setting that if your machine is joined to a specific domain only, then the synchronization should be allowed, otherwise not allowed. And other than that, there is block syncing of specific file types. So we're in sync, and then there is block syncing of specific file types. So if I select that, enter each file extension on a new line. So this is just saying that suppose you've downloaded that sync client in your laptop, and you're trying to put an .exe file there, .exe file that ends with .exe extension. So you don't want that to be synchronized up there in the cloud. So you can just type here .exe, right? And if I press enter here, then I can also put here .scr. It used to be an old way for the hackers to attack, that they would put an attachment with the screensaver file, and anyone would click that would get hacked. So and you could just add any other extensions. So what does this do? It simply blocks these extension files to be synchronized from your machine up in the cloud in OneDrive and SharePoint. So this is a good security option there. So screenshot 5 would be OneDrive sync block file type. So OneDrive Sync block file types. Wow, long name. OneDrive Sync block file types. So I'll just take a, so you're gonna take a screenshot of your, wow, looks like you need to take a screenshot like this. The name on the top, or the initials of the name should be showing on the top, right? Because it's not actually showing your name here in the URL even, right? Okay, so OneDrive Sync block file types. OneDrive Sync block file types. I'll just go there to OneDrive Sync block file types. Screenshot 5. OneDrive Sync block file type. Okay. Did I open that? Yeah. So I'm going to go back here and so we can save this here. In fact, yeah, save, and that's one thing. Second thing is that there's a download the sync client here, right? Download the sync client. So I'm going to click that, download the sync client, and again I click this, download the sync client. Hopefully you've also clicked it to show that it takes us to download OneDrive, and it simply then installs that application OneDrive, like synchronization application. If you have Windows 10, OneDrive is installed already on your PC. If you're using another version of Windows, install OneDrive to get started. So it says that if you have Windows 10, you have already OneDrive. So if I type here OneDrive in my search in Windows 10, so I do see OneDrive already as an app here. So normally what happens is that if you have OneDrive, then you can simply put the username and password of the login, the way you log into Microsoft 365, the username password that you use there, you can use that here to connect, and it will connect to that subscription of Office 365. You have 1 terabyte drive available by the college. The OneDrive that is 1 terabyte free for you to upload, as long as you have the college account for Office 365. So you don't have to do that. I'm just going to click that OneDrive here, and there's OneDrive showing here, and so these are just, and if I click the personal here, so it just shows the OneDrive. So you just have to go for the credentials, and if I go to this here, you don't have to do that. Well, it doesn't show, yeah, it shows OneDrive. Oh, it's iCloud for Apple. So yeah, OneDrive specifically or separately shows here the OneDrive link. If I right click on that link, so then it shows the start syncing again by signing in. So once you click here, then the link should appear here as well, or just right click there. Then you simply put the credentials of the Microsoft 365, and it connects to your 1 terabyte OneDrive, and you can synchronize. So this is overall process. You don't need to. We don't need to really do that here for the lab. I'm just gonna close this download. I'm gonna close this page as well. So other than sync, there is storage. Under the sync is storage, and use these settings to specify storage limits for all users and retention for deleted users. So you are giving 1000 GB. What's the maximum for my Microsoft 365 plan? So I'm going to click that URL here, saying that what is the maximum for my Microsoft 365 plan here. So it for most subscription plans, the default storage space for each user's OneDrive is 1 terabyte. So each user gets 1 terabyte. Depending on your plan and the number of licensed users, you can increase the storage up to 5 terabyte. Okay, so it depends on what license you have. For help out which subscription you have, there's that. If your organization has a qualifying Microsoft 365 subscription and 5 or more users, you can change the storage space to more than 5 terabyte. To discuss your needs, contact Microsoft support. So if you are already allowed to log in from your Microsoft 365 subscriptions in your 5 devices, or per user 5 devices there, if you're allowed, then this is going to be, you can do that. If you are allowed this way, then you can request up to 5 terabyte space here, and set the default OneDrive storage space in the OneDrive admin center. So there's that. This storage space setting applies to all new and existing users who are licensed for a qualifying plan and for whom you haven't set specific storage limits. So normally it's 1 terabyte, and nobody changes that, but you can change that as well, and the minimum is 1 gigabyte that you can take it down to, right? That's pretty brutal to go down to 1 terabyte, 1 GB. Anyway, and you can do that from the PowerShell as well. But basically, you can change for each user. So I'm going to go back to OneDrive here, and that's the default setting here. You can go down to 1 GB, but if I just change that to 5 here instead of 1 and click outside, so it didn't give me any error. Actually, I didn't save it yet, but if I go for 6 here, oh, okay, if I go to 10 terabyte, and I'm just testing that, so I'm just gonna click save. Are you kidding me? It's saved. So anyway, I'm just gonna go back to 1 terabyte. This is 1000 GB, right? 1024 GB. So I was just checking that it should actually pop up with an error. When I even saved it, then at that time it should give me an error, but it didn't. And then there is days to retain files in OneDrive after a user account is marked for deletion. You've already clicked delete on the user's account. So how long do you want? Will the OneDrive data be secured by Microsoft? You've deleted the account, right? But the data can still be retained. Microsoft retains the data for 30 days. So that's what the settings are for, and you can just change it to more time as well. No, I want any deleted account to have 60 days instead of 30 days, so you can do that too. So let's go for screenshot number 6 as OneDrive storage settings. Screenshot 6, OneDrive storage settings. Screenshot 6, OneDrive storage settings. Screenshot 6, OneDrive storage settings. I'll go for this. Oh, this is also not good. So guys, at least go till here. So your abbreviation should be showing there. So, OneDrive storage settings. Screenshot 6 OneDrive storage settings. OneDrive storage settings, screenshot 6. Then we go to the device access here under the storage, and the device access. Okay. Yeah. So device access here, control access based on network location. So allow access only from specific IP address location. You know that feature already, that if you add a public IP of anyone, DSL's IP there, public IP, so that user can only log in from that location to the OneDrive, and synchronization can only happen. Suppose that user takes his or her laptop to some other location, and that location's public IP is not added here, so the synchronization will stop automatically. And when that person again comes back to this public IP, synchronization of OneDrive automatically starts again. So this is just IP address location based settings. I'm just going to uncheck that. And then there's control access from apps that can't enforce device based restrictions. So device-based restrictions normally are controlled by your MDM as well, mobile device management software, like Microsoft Intune or AirWatch from VMware, right? So now these are famous applications, especially Microsoft Intune. So allow access from apps that don't use modern authentication, and we talked about that as well before, that don't use modern authentication. Those applications that are using older authentications can be also they won't be allowed to connect. And if it's older versions of protocol, especially suppose for example you have TLS there, the transport layer security 1.0, that is already deprecated by Microsoft. They're not recommending using that, but if you haven't updated put all the updates in your machines, then and you go for TLS 1.3, so you would be allowed. TLS 1.0, you will not be allowed to connect to Microsoft 365 unless you upgrade your PC, all the desktop applications, or wherever you're connecting from, the cell phone device especially, or tablets. You need to update them with latest updates, so it would support modern authentication. Mobile application management. So use these settings to control access to features in the OneDrive and SharePoint mobile apps, right? So there's that OneDrive and SharePoint mobile apps. If you created other policies in Intune, so first of all it says use these settings to control access to features in the OneDrive and SharePoint mobile apps. So we're talking about cell phone apps, and then if you created other policies in Intune, they will take precedence over the selected users. Now first of all, normally these policies are all grayed out unless you are not clickable, unless you have gone for the mobility license, right? So you don't have to go there. I'm just going back here to billing, licenses, and your products actually, and so there's that enterprise mobility. If you have this one, then you can see that those options enabled for cell phone basic default, we can say basic cell phone management, and it's not extensive cell phone management or device management. Extensive would be Intune. So if I go to OneDrive, yeah, so these settings apply to the apps for Android and iOS. So they're just saying that you want to set up these configurations, then you can go for the Android and iOS apps there. Deploy this policy, so that it's showing there, and you can see block downloading files in the apps, and you can just click that if you want, and then block taking screenshots in the apps. That's pretty cool, that you can block the Sharepoint OneDrive that is downloaded there in your configurations. So whatever OneDrive application and whatever documents inside the OneDrive are, you can't really take a screenshot of those documents data there if you enable this option. So that's pretty cool. Block copying files and content within the files, and obviously you can block the copying in Android and iOS phones. Block printing files, block copying files. You can't print from cell phones, you can't copy from cell phones, the company data from the company OneDrive, block backing up data even. So it doesn't even back up the company data. Require app passcode, and block opening OneDrive and SharePoint files in other apps. Not even in other apps. You can open that, encrypt app data when device is locked. So encrypt it as well. So that's pretty cool configurations there. And require Office 365 sign in every 7 days. So you can't just stay signed in. You have to sign in again or put your credentials again every 7 days. When a device is offline, minutes to verify user access after 90 days. Days to wipe app data after 720 days. Wow. So that's a very good security configuration. Minutes to verify user access. That are you really connected when the device is offline for 90 is it days or hours? I think it's 90 days would be very long. So I think they don't say that days here. So well, overall configuration is this, and a very, very interesting configuration. So you can just keep, if you go down here where mobile application management is showing and device access is showing, so that would be our screenshot number 7, that OneDrive mobile application management, OneDrive mobile application management. So screenshot 7, OneDrive mobile application management, where all these options are showing. Screenshot 7, OneDrive mobile application management. Oh, Bradley says. Bradley says grayed out. It's gray. Okay. Well, even if it's gray, take the screenshot because the options are there. Well, it is gray because I think you don't have the enterprise mobility. You did not add that when I was adding that enterprise mobility license, so that's why it's gray. Even though it is gray, you can take a screenshot because we need to know what they do. and whenever you add the license, you can test them out at your own time. So if it's gray, still take the screenshot, it's okay. So if it's gray, still take a screenshot, it's okay. How come, guys? Do you have this license? Do you all have, those who are saying gray, I think you don't have this enterprise mobility license, that's why. And it's in your products in admin center, if you want to check. Otherwise, if it's gray, yes, it's okay to take a screenshot of the grayed screen as well. So that was what screenshot 7. Okay. So I'm going to go back. Yeah. So these are very good security options for OneDrive access from mobile applications and for tablets as well. And but this is not the complete MDM solution, obviously, and it's not mobile device management solution. I'm going to go down to compliance here after device access. So guys, let's take a break here, and let's come back at 8:10 and continue. So let's take a break here and come back at 8:10. To 10. All right, guys. So yeah, Onedrive. Okay, so there's a message, and many of us are actually putting it on private. Does the Week11 video still have to go through processing and all that fun YouTube stuff? Week11 video, what happened? Week11 for collaboration? No, for COMP3121, 3108. 12, okay. Oh, no, Week11 video is actually, yeah, I have to upload it, and the processing does take time. So that is the problemo here. It's gonna take some time. But it's not like rendering here locally takes 1.5 hours. So that was done, but I forgot to upload it. Alright guys, so let us start. Forgot to mute my mic. Okay, so let us go ahead. And so compliance in OneDrive. So if your organization has legal, regulatory, or technical standards that you need to meet, or if you want to help identify and protect sensitive information in OneDrive, use the Security and Compliance Center to perform the following tasks. So mainly you have to go for regulatory, legal, and technical standards if you want to meet there. So you can go for, but now you may have remembered that we have gone through these features of auditing, data loss prevention, retention, e-discovery, alerts in Exchange Online as well. So these are simply the same features again that would obviously be fulfilling your legal and regulatory requirements. Auditing view user activities related to OneDrive, such as who recently accessed, deleted, or shared files. So there's that search the audit log. I'm going to click that, or let's click this search the audit log. Let's click this, search the audit log, and once we click that, so it's going to take us to, you can see the URL here, and it's protection.office.com, and well, it actually we landed on the main home page of security and compliance instead of the audit log audit page. So this means that we need to go inside and check that it would not be DLP, records management, information governance, and threat management. Now I have to just go down. It's so many policies there that I need to check it out. Data privacy, seriously? It's audit. And e-discovery reports. Don't tell me there's no audit. What time is it? Content. So audit log search. This one. So it's supposed to send us down here. So once you click that, and way from above, if you keep going down, until you reach service assurance, there's audit reports there, but above is the audit log, which is under search, right? Audit log is under search. And if I click the audit log search here, so then I just clicked on the audit log search under the search here. So to use this feature, turn on auditing so we can start recording user and admin activity in your organization. When you turn this on, activity will be recorded to the Office 365 audit log and available to view in a report. So it's just saying that turn on the auditing for regular reports about who's doing what on your OneDrive. So audit log search is there, and I'm going to turn it on. So let's click the turn on auditing. Let's click the turn on auditing. Ready? Security and compliance, your organization settings need to be updated. Do you want to continue? Well, yes. So organization settings need to be updated for that. So I will press yes. Please wait a moment while we update your organization settings. All right. Okay, so I went to the protection.office.com, and then it says actually unified auditing here, but I had to go way down to the search, expand that, then I went to audit log search, then I turned on the auditing first, and in order to turn that on, okay, so it said that we're gonna make some organization-wide changes. Now that may not be possible because our E5 license actually has been disabled. Sorry, we couldn't update your organization settings for now, but we will retry it in background. Please check back later. Okay, so I'm gonna press OK here, and okay. So that's the first thing is turn on auditing, and searching the audit log is now available in the Microsoft 365 Compliance Center. Moving forward, updates and improvements to auditing will be made in the Compliance Center. So I'm in the protection.office.com while they're saying that it is now available in the Compliance Center. As a result, we recommend your organization start using audit solution in the Compliance Center as soon as possible. Try out the new experience today. Seriously. Okay. So, well, the overall thing is that you need to turn on auditing. So the reports will be, so suppose you logged in, or you deleted some document, or you made some changes in the document, or downloaded a document, so you want all that to be audited. You need to just enable that auditing. That's the main overall purpose of what we're doing. So it does say here in the yellow bar here, try out the new experience today. So what it's saying is to go to the Compliance Center instead of the Protection Center. URL. So I'm just going to click that, try out the new experience today, and it takes us to compliance center. So and then it lands us directly on the audit. That's exactly what we were expecting, that it should land us on the audit. And second thing is that need to find out if a user deleted a document or if an admin reset someone's password. Search the Office 365 audit log to find out what the users and admins in your organization have been doing. You'll be able to find activity related to email, groups, documents, permissions, directory services, and much more. So that's a lot of information. Start recording user and admin activity. So this button has to be clicked, and so the activity could be recorded onwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this or click this button, and it again says that organization settings need to be updated. Do you want to continue? I'm just going to press yes. Again, it's saying the same thing. Please wait for a moment. Please wait a moment while we update your organization settings. And okay. Well, I think it's good. Message is gone. Okay, so well, what happens is that obviously it's show results of all activities, search. It should be clickable if it worked. So anyway, I don't have that button. Okay, Amir says start button. You don't have that button. Like nothing is there. Or you can refresh. If I refresh that on the top, on the browser level, in fact, my button is also like, we couldn't update your organization settings for now, but we will try it in the background. It's saying the same message to me anyway. Oh, okay, so not at all. Strange. Well, sometimes in trial versions, and especially the dead trial versions, it could be that it's and Microsoft normally has some degradation of performances. It keeps on going. So that's something that we need to take into account as well. So guys, yes, auditing, we understand what it is, what does it cover. So I'm just gonna copy this here, that overall what auditing is covering. Whether if you don't have the button, it's okay, it doesn't matter. But I'll just put that information there to be. Well, even the button got copied here as well. So, wow. And this audit is actually, well, it's M365 audit. It's just not only OneDrive audit. We did go from OneDrive, but it says that this is the central location for auditing your emails or documents or and OneDrive, but not just OneDrive. Okay, so well, we were here and we saw that we can go back to the OneDrive. I'll just close this and this as well, and go back to the OneDrive where we started from. So DLP, we talked about that in Exchange Online as well. And data loss prevention, the purpose of data loss prevention is that if you have any kind of sensitive data like financial data or employee data, or any other kind of sensitive data, so it must not leave our environment. And in order to implement that, we need to have proper settings and templates implemented in here in Office 365 or Microsoft 365. So we did work on DLP in our Exchange Online, and that's the same exact interface that it's going to take us. So just to give an idea, I'm just going to click that create a DLP policy here. Let's click that create a DLP policy. Let's click create a DLP policy. Once we click that, so it does take us to protection.office.com, which is offering a long list of features there, but it takes us to data loss prevention page on protection.office.com. So we landed on the same page, and then there is that if you have landed on this page, then there's a create a policy here. So we're just going to go through this, but we don't have to really create that, but just for a refresher. So I'm just going to click that create a policy and choose an industry regulations to see the DLP policy templates you can use to protect that info, or create a custom policy, start from scratch. So there's that custom and then custom policy here, and create a custom policy from scratch. You will choose the type of content to protect and how you want to protect it. So it's just a custom saying, but there's a financial written here. If I just go to the financial, there's medical there as well, there's a privacy there. But if you go to financial and then Canada financial data, so financial and Canada financial data, and this is well comprised of credit card number and Canada bank account number. So what it really does is that it's going to if your email or if your documents have the credit card number and if your email or document has Canada bank account number, so it's going to really block that traffic from leaving the organization, block that email or block that document to be shared outside the organization, as long as it's going outside with this information. So either it will be blocked or it will be reported. So these are the two things that you can do: block it or report to it, but let it go. So if you have selected the financial and Canada financial data, and it does show what it's going to block, then we can click next, and then it says Canada financial data here, description, friendly description. I'm just gonna copy that and then paste it as well. So it's just the name of the policy, and then if we click next, so then it says what is the location, where do you expect that the people could be putting this information and sending it outside of our organization. So it's Exchange email, team chats and channel messages, and OneDrive and SharePoint documents. Or you could just choose the specific locations as well. So I'm just going to click next, and again it says find content that contains credit card number and Canada bank account number. Detect when this content is shared with people outside of my organization, only with people inside my organization. So it's up to you what you select there, outside or inside. And then when we go to the last screen before review, so who needs to be notified, show policy tips to users and send them an email notification, and detect when a specific amount of sensitive info is being shared at one time. Detect when content that's being shared contains at least 10 instances of the same sensitive info type. So this means, suppose you're sending credit card information, so it's written, credit card number is actually written 10 times in that same instance. Like you're sending an email and the credit card number or credit card numbers are written, 10 of them are written there, then it's gonna block that. If it's written just once, according to this particular policy, uh, if it's just written once, it's not gonna block that. So that's what it says, and that's kind of strange. So what we can do is, we're not gonna really test it, but we can do a backspace here and keep it one. So if we, if once a credit card number is detected in an email being sent outside of organization or a document being shared outside of organization, so even once if it is there, just block it or whatever you want to do. Send incident report is there, and choose what to include in the report is there as well. Restrict access or encrypt the content. This is more strict, obviously, that you would restrict the access of the user or encrypt it so the user cannot read that data, which has a credit card number or bank account number information available. So this is the overall policy here, and it also says show policy tips to users and send them an email notification if they're doing that. And also I'm just going to click next. Well, that's the policy setting. Yes, turn it on right away. I'd like to test it out first. No, keep it off. So I'm just going to select this one, third one. No, keep it off, because we just wanted to explore the options here, but not actually to implement that policy. So but obviously when you create that and select those options carefully and you keep it off, then you can anytime turn it on, and you don't have to go through all that again. So I'm just selecting the third one and click next until it reaches the review. So I'm going to click review here. Now this is the overall review of template name of the policy. So template name is there, policy name is there, applies to content, policy settings. So on the top, review your settings, template name, policy name, description, applies to is showing there. That would be our screenshot 8. So screenshot 8, DLP policy, OneDrive DLP policy, screenshot 8, OneDrive DLP policy. So screenshot 8, OneDrive DLP policy. So I'll just well, you can just add that top right name, related info. So it's OneDrive DLP policy, screenshot 8. Screenshot 8, OneDrive DLP policy. Screenshot 8, OneDrive DLP policy. Okay, I'll go back here. So we don't need to really create that, so I'm just gonna click cancel. It's still already a E5 subscription is already disabled, so I'm gonna click cancel. But these are all the options that you would see in a production environment as well, and those are the options that you need to really consider what you want to select, what you don't want to select for your organization compliance policies. So I'm gonna click cancel out from here and press yes. And so if you go back to OneDrive here, go back to OneDrive, and it does show retention policy, e-discovery, and alerts. And so if we go to the retention, so we can click the create a preservation policy. I'm going to click that, create a preservation policy. And so there's that retention, and I clicked this create a preservation policy. So preserve OneDrive files as long as you need, or retain, So it says here, email, documents, Skype, and Teams conversations. Your users generate a lot of content every day. Take control of it by setting up retention policies to keep what you want and get rid of what you don't. But it says here in the yellow bar now, good news, information governance and records management are now available as solutions in the Microsoft 365 Compliance Center. Again, that's the same thing. It's just asking us to go away from protection.office.com to Compliance Center. We recommend using these solutions to take advantage of richer capabilities, including trainable classifiers, proof of disposal of records, and more. Anyway, so what it says is that it's the governance and information governance and records management that they are really offering. So obviously in OneDrive you would have maybe thousands or millions of files there, and you want to really decide that you don't want to actually save all the files, but which ones are critical that you would want to save and which ones are not critical. So if you're on this page, then you can go for Microsoft 365 Compliance Center here. So I'm just going to click that Microsoft 365 Compliance Center in the yellow bar, right? So once you click that, it's going to take back to the home page, seriously. So instead of taking us to the retention center, it took us to the home page, and there's that data classification here. There's compliance manager here as well, and compliance manager. So if I click the compliance manager here, that's overall, it's just saying that how compliant you are to whatever the vendor policies of security and compliance. So we don't need to go there. Data classification, if I click that and close it, data classification, content explorer, no retention labels. So its retention is actually guys, give me a second. Kids are really making noise. Okay, so well, Microsoft really need to work on their links here. I think well, they're throughout the year they are improving, right? So that's what they say. So it's just that the links are not really there for us to check out it, and after some time it's again a different link, then again a different link, and then again. Okay, so view all sensitive info types, top retention labels applied to content, no retention labels detected. Well, anyway, we were not able to really find what we were looking. Oh, there's retention. So see this compliance.microsoft.com, compliance policies, that's the link where we're in, and then there's a under the alerts and reports, there's policies here, right? And once you click the policies, there's retention written here. So under the policies and then retention, so I'm going to click that, retention. So retention, and then there's a new retention policy. So basically it's all about what that you want to retain data or you don't want to retain data. And first of all, it's gonna say that please label your data or classify your data, whichever data is classified as important, critical. Then you can, whatever data, whatever document is labeled as like classified or important, so in that case it's going to just simply, retention policy will go through that, and whatever retention policy you want to put on that document, you can put that. Okay, Keith says that I have only 2 options instead of 5. So guys, is that the same for others as well, that you see 5 options here or just 2 options? Okay, 5. Okay, here again, Vinci says 5. So, and John says 5. So it's 5 against 2. So how can you say 2? Wow. Well, Keith, you can just refresh. So if you refresh the browser and then again click the policies and then again click the retention, hopefully you have 5 here. Okay, so well, if I click labels, so it says create a label, label policies, so publish labels, and then retention. Now it says new retention policy here, right? So, oh, you got it. Okay, so I'm going to click that new retention policy, and let's click that. After clicking the new retention policy, so we can just name it your first name dash retention policy, your first name dash retention policy, and then select the whole thing and copy and paste. So your first name retention policy, and once it is here, then I'm just gonna click next here. So it says here choose locations to apply the policy, and you want to apply it on Exchange email, SharePoint, OneDrive, Microsoft 365 groups, Sky for Business, public folders. So whatever is selected is okay. And team chats, team channel messages, Exchange public folders. Now whatever is selected, we can just keep it like that and click next. So the retention settings appear here. Decide if you want to retain content, delete it, or both. Retain items for a specific period. So how long do you want to retain the items? 5, 7, 10, custom. So 7 years is there. Whatever time you want to keep the data here, and start the retention period based on when items were created or when items were last modified. So suppose you create the item today, and after do you want it deleted after 7 years of creation of items? No matter, suppose on the 7th year, the last month, somebody modified it, so this means that somebody was still using it, and you still set that policy of deleting that item. Or if it's been 7 years since anyone modified this file, so maybe it was created 10 years ago, but it's been 7 years that nobody modified. So after 7 years after the last modification, do you want to delete the file? So if obviously nobody's touching the file for that much time, which means that that file may not be of any use. Obviously, it's about the the importance of the data, right? So if the data is really important, critical, you would not delete it, or you would just keep a backup of that somewhere else, and it's copy here and let it delete at 7 years, after 7 years, because you still have a backup of that data somewhere else as well. So in that case, yes, you can still keep it to be deleted on after 7 years. Normally, as I may have mentioned before, that financial information of a company must be retained for 7 years as a law, and other than that, you can delete all the data of the employee. You don't have to retain all the data of the employee for 7 years, but the financial data needs to be retained for 7 years. Okay, so at the end of retention period, delete items automatically or do nothing. So you want to keep those items forever, or you want to delete them at the end of the 7 years. So it's up to you. Retain items forever. Items will be retained forever even if users delete them. So that's a very cool thing, that even if you fear that the users will delete them, that option, if you select it, then Microsoft will retain your data still, even if the users have deleted it. Only delete items when they reach a certain age, and items won't be retained, but when they reach the age you choose, we'll delete them from where they are stored. So Microsoft will delete them, and it can be any time that you specify here. So anyway, this is the main retention features, options there, and let's click next. So that's the full policy here, and that's a retention policy, and it says here retain items for 7 years based on what. So what we selected here is actually the full screen showing. Items are currently older than 7 years will be items that are currently older than 7 years will be deleted after you turn on this policy. This is especially important to note for locations scoped to all sources, for example, all team chats, because all matching items in those locations across your organization will be permanently deleted. So after 7 years, data will be gone permanently. That's what they're saying. So this would be our OneDrive retention policy, screenshot number 9. OneDrive retention policy. So screenshot number 9 would be OneDrive retention policy. So screenshot number 9, OneDrive retention policy. Okay, so if we go back to Well, we don't need to really create that, but we do understand the, you need to select a location, you need to select the retention options, and what are those retention options for OneDrive, and pretty much it has SharePoint sites, whatever's in the SharePoint sites, whatever's in the OneDrive, you're just putting a retention policy for all that, and in Exchange email and Microsoft 365 groups. So I'm going to click cancel here, and yes. Alright, so we were talking about yeah. So I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna close this. I'll close this and this, and data loss prevention as well. I'm gonna go back to OneDrive. So there's that DLP, retention, e-discovery, and alerts. Alerts are just, you can just create alerts and it's gonna send to your email whatever alerts you have configured. But e-discovery here, identify, hold, search, and export content that can be used as evidence in legal cases. So I'm going to click that, create an e-discovery case. And in the e-discovery, so after creating an e-discovery case and choosing who has access to it, use the case to search for email, documents, Skype for business conversations, and other content in your organization. You can then preserve the content and export the search results. So it's just e-discovery case when you are creating that, so you can just put on hold. Well, you can just e-discover or just simply search across the whole Microsoft 365 whatever data you're trying to look for. So it says here, well, you can also prepare search results for more detailed analysis in advanced e-discovery. Go to advanced e-discovery, so there are more detailed analysis you can take, but we have a new case management, hold, search, and export experience for you to try, create a case to check it out. So it says here they have new experience, but to offer us, there's a plus sign here. So under the e-discovery, there's a plus sign. Do they offer us? This is the whole URL here. Okay, right? Guys, we can just click this URL as well, and let's just check that. What is this URL having? So if I click that, and there you go. It doesn't do anything. Okay, so I'm gonna go down back to plus. I'm gonna click the plus sign here. And once we click the plus, so it says that you want to create a new case for e-discovery or searching for your data. And I'll click here, next. Well, I guess I did click next. Oh, it's doing nothing. Cool. Not cool. Okay, so I think that was a dead end, and we should go to advanced e-discovery. So they're still doing that renovation of Microsoft 365 or adding new features or upgrade or updates. I'm going to cancel out from here. Cancel. So this plus sign is no good. But we can go for this, go to advanced e-discovery. So I'm going to click that. Go to advanced e-discovery. Let's click this one. So once we click that, it takes us to protection.office.com, and use Office 365 Advanced e-discovery to better understand your Office 365 data and reduce your e-discovery costs. E-discovery helps you analyze unstructured data within Office 365, perform more efficient document review, and make decisions to reduce data. Well, you can work with data stored in Exchange Online and SharePoint, OneDrive, and Skype. To use these powerful data analysis features for your e-discovery searches, simply export search results to advanced e-discovery. Right, so export search results. Note that only users who are assigned an E5 license can have their data analyzed in advanced e-discovery. There you go. Okay. Well, so if you have E5 license, then you can. And if you decide to use advanced e-discovery, it may take up to 24 hours to set it up for your organization. Okay, another dead end. By enabling this service, you accept that customer content you create or provide to this service will be moved outside of your current accredited boundary of this service, and that none of the compliance and data protection terms specific to the Office 365 government offering will apply to the storage and processing of this data. So in English, what it's saying is that you can search all the data, and if you want more advanced analysis of your search results, you can import that search result in advanced e-discovery, and then you could simply well, what you can expect is that whatever data you put to the advanced e-discovery, that's not gonna be under the compliance and security that you were implementing through Microsoft 365. So this is kind of going outside of your Microsoft 365, we can say, jurisdiction, and they're gonna just analyze the data for you. Suppose you want analysis of how many employees you have since last 10 years who have resigned after 2 years of their joining your company, and had these benefits, such and such benefits. So you can just make that query really complex and for analysis, and then they would just search all those different criteria that you put in the query, and that's going to be all done outside of your Microsoft 365 organizations and outside the security provided by Microsoft 365 organization. So that's what they're saying, that as a disclaimer, so that customers would not sue Microsoft later that, hey, that data was not even inside Microsoft 365. So where did you put our data for analysis? Why did you provide this link in the first place? So they're saying that be aware of this. So I'm gonna copy this. In fact, I'm just gonna click that. I want to use advanced discovery, although it's kind of clear that this would not really work, right? And so I'm just gonna click that. I want to use advanced e-discovery. Your request has been successfully submitted. They say your request has been successfully submitted, and then okay. After okay, we're just thrown back to the e-discovery page. So it's advanced e-discovery page or e-discovery page here. So that's kind of it, that it's going to take 24 hours for the services to be available. But what it does is that choosing use the case to search for email documents Sky for Business. So that what it says here is what it does. I'm going to click that learn more here as well for e-discovery. Core e-discovery in Microsoft 365 provides a basic e-discovery tool that organizations can use to search and export content in Microsoft 365 and Office 365. You can also use core e-discovery to place an e-discovery hold on content locations such as an Exchange Online. So you can place an e-discovery hold. Hold just means that if some employee is under investigation, then you would put that data, that email, that mailbox on hold, which means that the employee cannot change anything and cannot delete anything until that hold is in place. So that's for core e-discovery. These are the features. I'll just simply copy that and So where the code is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and put it there on. So that would be core discovery. Okay, so we're going to go back here, OneDrive, and then there are alerts. So yeah, obviously you can just get notified when users perform specific activities in OneDrive. So you can create an alert as well that if somebody uploads a file, somebody deletes a file, somebody changes a file, just create an alert for me. And well, if you go to the left side under the compliance, there is notifications here, and the notifications will send you obviously notifications about the status of your services. If it loads today, still loading. Okay. Wow. I'll just close the other tabs here. And then I'll refresh this page on the browser level, so it should load for me. Monday, Sunday. Okay, there we go. So use these settings to control notifications in OneDrive. Display device notifications to users when OneDrive files are shared with them. Well, device notification that a file was shared with them. So there should be a notification there saying email OneDrive owners when other users invite additional external users to shared files. External users accept invitations to access files. Anonymous access and anonymous access link is created or changed. So well, these are pretty straightforward kind of options there that you can check or uncheck if you want. Obviously, we would want to be notified of all the common scenarios about our data. If you go down to the data migration, wow, I just clicked it on the data migration and it took us back to the SharePoint Admin Center. So the where was I? I was here, right? So this data migration of OneDrive is the data migration option actually of the SharePoint Admin Center. This is how much the OneDrive and SharePoint are connected together. So that's well, if you click data migration, it's going to just open the SharePoint migration, which we already covered. File shares, migration solutions, migration manager, migration solutions, and the mover, right? Two guys in a truck. So the mover here, they're acquired by Microsoft. So that is what data migration is. So what we can do is we can take screenshot number 10 of notifications. So OneDrive notifications. Screenshot 10, OneDrive notifications. Screenshot 10, OneDrive notifications. And screenshot 10, OneDrive notifications. Oh, and put the name there. OneDrive notifications. And oh, what happened? I didn't give screenshot 9 on the OneDrive. Okay, I click that, Control C. I didn't put it on WhatsApp actually. Screenshot 9 was what? OneDrive policy? Oh, OneDrive retention policy. Seriously, what's wrong with me? That was actually retention. And I put it there, but what picture is it going to put? Oh, it's not. So that would be retention policy, and this would be OneDrive notifications, which is already there. So I'll just so that would be screenshot 10 OneDrive notification policy. Okay, so we've covered the last few features of SharePoint and the OneDrive. So in next class we're going to go for Teams as well. So you could just upload your document now, and you'll be getting the project by this weekend. Before this weekend it will be uploaded. For the cloud, the project has been uploaded already. And I'll just go ahead and create that folder there in Blackboard. To go ahead and upload. Oh well, when we try to create that. Alright guys, so upload. So there's a question when we have final prof. Well, it will be on 15th, week 15, right? Everyone else is taking it on week 15 or 14. And the second question is, are you teaching any classes for George Brown Advanced Security Postgrad program? No, Jacob, I'm not teaching any of those classes. And well, it's going to be week 15 that we will take the exam with the quiz, the final quiz. Hey guys, so just upload that all, and we're gonna be well, see you next week and have a nice long weekend.